Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, and you're listening to the Tips with Tony podcast, where every week I come to you with quick, simple, easy tips to help you commit to that healthy lifestyle. This week's topic is about the plate method. As a registered dietitian, I recommend the plate method to a lot of my clients because it's a great and effective way to incorporate a bunch of different food groups, so maintaining that healthy lifestyle, getting all of those nutritious nutrients, making sure that it helps you with satiety so you don't skip meals, and the plate method can be used for a bunch of different individuals. The plate method is broken down like this. Think about for breakfast, you don't always have your typical plate with vegetables and a protein, maybe like meat, right? When you think of breakfast, I think the first thing that comes to mind is maybe cereal. So the idea behind the plate method is, remember, I don't know if you guys can remember back to the food pyramid about almost 10 years ago. The food pyramid was translated into a plate to help with the application of incorporating all of the different food groups on a daily basis. So the plate method is encouraging you to include at least 3 of those food groups in your everyday diet. So for breakfast, the food groups are broken down by fruit, protein, dairy, grains, and vegetables. Breakfast, you might not think of having vegetables, but you could. So an example of a healthy breakfast using the plate method would be maybe your eggs is your protein, your vegetables and your omelet, and then a whole grain piece of bread for your grains or your starch, your carbohydrate, right? So you get those balance of the 3 different food groups in one plate. So an example for lunch might be maybe some brown rice as your starch, maybe some grilled shrimp using a lean protein as your protein source. And then once again, maybe some non-starchy vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, and kind of having maybe like a brown rice and shrimp stir fry. And that's your healthy option for lunch. Then a dinner plate might look something like a garden salad on the side, right? Maybe your protein would be like a pork tenderloin. Believe it or not, pork tenderloins are actually a lean source of protein where, obviously things like sausage and bacon, those are more of your processed meats. So you don't want to really be having those on a regular daily basis. But the plate method, you will incorporate those 3 different food groups. So you have your lean protein, which would be your pork tenderloin, maybe like a baked sweet potato as your starch, and then that garden salad as your vegetable. So now if you recognize, as I spoke about the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, you're incorporating all of those different food groups. You're getting a different variety of foods, which means you're getting a different variety of nutrients, which those nutrients have things like what we call your micronutrients that prevent illness and disease. So you're allowing more opportunity by having a well-balanced meal, more opportunity for those different food groups to help prevent disease, but also to make you feel full so you're not likely to over or under eat throughout the day. Now, one thing I want to mention, of course, with most people is portion control. The idea behind the plate method is that the vegetables should be taking up about half of the plate. And if it's something like breakfast where you might not have vegetables, maybe it's that fruit instead. So that fruit, either fruit or vegetables or both, should really be taking up about half of the plate. The other quarter of the plate is that protein, which is why you'll hear dietitians recommend that palm-sized piece of protein. That palm-sized piece of protein should take up about a quarter of the plate. And then the other quarter of the plate is your carbohydrates, the starches that a lot of people fear, but if it's the right type of carbohydrates, there's no reason to fear it. So an example of those would be your whole grain starches. So using brown rice instead of white rice, or using Cheerios instead of something like Frosted Flakes. Even though Frosted Flakes are delicious, they're not going to have the dietary fiber that your body needs. Okay. With your vegetables, you want to make sure they're non-starchy, they're not drenched in oil, they're not totally overcooked. And with your fruit, you want to make sure it's either fresh fruit or, if it is dried fruit, watch your portion control, because the more dried that it is, the more sugar that it contains. So that's my really, really quick way of explaining the plate method. For greater detail and more information on the plate method, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at tipswithtony. You can email me directly at tipswithtony@yahoo.com, or you can even message me on the GymWits, because I feature on their show sometimes too, so you can always contact me through their podcast as well. So thank you so much for listening. Once again, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, and you're listening to the Tips with Tony podcast.